Welcome to day 7. I'm so incredibly proud of you. You're watching this video, you're here, you made it. Do it with me. It's only going to be about 15 to 20 minutes of some good mobility and actually understanding how to get the fluids to move better within our body, because that's where mobility begins, is getting fluids to move, just like we talked about on day 1. And if we can start to improve the fluid flow, we can start to reduce that fascial restriction. So stick with me. Today is all about commitment, and I just want you to think about that as we move through. What have you felt this week that might have been a little bit different? And what do you want to commit to within your body moving forward? Whether that's the foods that you added in, whether that is the type of workouts that we were doing. Maybe you realize that you've got a lot of restrictions within mobility. And as daunting as it may seem, you're realizing how important it is to add it in. So come back to that. Come back to, what have I learned? What do I want to commit to? And it's really up to you, right? No one else can do it except you. And so I'm just thankful and grateful that you're here with me right now and you've shown that commitment. And that is the first step to everything. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for flowing with me. And I can't wait to get this last day in and over with. So let's get started. Okay, so again, going into fluids. So today is all about getting those fluids to move, understanding and down regulation within the body, what that actually feels like and what that can be when we actually get things moving so that we can improve that mobility down the line, okay? So we're gonna lie on your back, and this is where I want you to have a towel handy or long pillows that you can kind of roll up like a towel. And have like a little pillow, not too thick. This one might even be a little too thick, but have one handy so that you can lie your head down and kind of relax with it as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna place this down here for my head, and I'm gonna lie down on my back. Now, when we're here, there's 3 different points that I want to hit on the body. So we're just going to bend the knees to relax. You can even let the knees come in toward each other with the feet wider so that you get even more relaxation. It's up to you. Okay, and we're going to find different points of the body. So these are points where the nervous system, or those nerves, cross the lymphatic system. Okay, and these are called your neurolymphatic points. There's several along the body. And when we're able to tap into them and kind of feel into them, one, we can get the nervous system to down-regulate and relax so that we get that decreased tension and stress and inflammation. And at the same time, we get that lymphatic fluid moving as well. So it's kind of a double whammy here. Now there's 3 different points, and you'll realize that these points are usually sensitive. Now it's not necessarily the muscle tissue that we're getting into, it's that neurolymphatic tissue. And when we kind of activate and rub on the nerves and on the lymphatic tissue, that's why it can feel sensitive. So listen to your body. We only want to feel it, but we don't want to make it painful, because it's not muscle tissue, it's not just scar tissue we're trying to break up or anything like that. So first point is going to be, I'm going to find my hips, I'm going to find my belly button here, okay? Now I want to find where my belly button, my hip is, and I want to go halfway. So I'm going to come about halfway point and see where my hands kind of meet. And then right in this area is where I'm going to start to just kind of, it's almost digging, but I want you to think of just feeling it. So again, feeling it, moderate pressure, and kind of exploring along this path here, okay, down to like the pubic bone. So again, belly button to hip, come halfway, and then just kind of wiggle in here. Now, usually this looks like a hip flexor release, but it's not. So we're not getting so far down that we're actually getting into that hip flexor, especially not on our own. And that's not our goal here. Again, it's just to get everything to relax. So if we want to get things to relax, the most important thing is the breath. So taking long exhales and taking shorter inhales. That's the first cue that you want to focus on. Taking a slow breath in and a nice and slower and longer breath out. This can either be in through the nose, out through the mouth, or it can all be as your nasal breathing, okay? So just breathing, relaxing, feeling it here. Moving this, it's only about 30 seconds in each location, okay? So make sure you do both hips, just about 30 seconds. It doesn't take long at all to kind of get things to start to relax, especially when we do the breath. So obviously I'm chatting the whole way through, so it's not gonna be as effective for me, honestly. You wanna really be focusing on that breath, relaxing that body, relaxing the back, the chest, the abdominal area, and just focusing on slow nasal breathing. In through the nose, nice and slow, out through the nose or the mouth, even slower, okay? Next point that we're gonna hit is right on the sternum. So this is gonna sound weird, but I like to take my knuckles here and just kind of rub right on top of the sternum. Now it might feel like, ooh, that's a little sensitive, but if you were to rub your elbow, you wouldn't feel anything. And it's because it's not just that we're rubbing on bone, again, we're rubbing on that neurolymphatic tissue, okay? So go slow and gentle with this. Find the areas that feel a little bit tighter and try to see if I can just breathe and relax into that. Again, it's 30 seconds, so it doesn't take too long. Now also realize that when we're working with patients where we want to alarm them or we want to wake them up, we do the sternum rub, but we do really aggressive. That is not the goal here. We're trying to go the opposite. So it's not too hard of a rub. It's just to feel it, and then you slow down the breath with it. And again, when we do that, we get fluids moving, we get that nervous system, that just relaxing with you to decrease that inflammation and stress. Last area is right underneath the collarbone here. Okay, so I'm going to take my fingers like kind of up and under my collarbone, and again you're going to realize, ooh, that's really tight, my pecs are really tight. And even though that might be true, we're not just getting the pecs, okay? We're actually getting into that neurolymphatic tissue. Have I said it enough yet? Probably. So again, nice and slow breaths. Do each side for about 30 seconds. That's all you need. And if this were to be your routine before you go to bed, or when you're going to wake up, or you know, if you could do it in the car when you're sitting in traffic, like how can I find these moments to kind of help my body down-regulate, move fluids, and feel a little bit more relaxed and less tense? Especially in these days, I think that this is so key and so important, right? To really start to come back to. Okay, moving right along, we want to get into the towel. So now I'm going to take the towel and I'm just going to roll it up a little bit and I'm going to lie on it, okay? So I'm going to take my belly and I want to actually get a little bit of a diaphragm release. So now I'm going to put the towel up and underneath my rib cage here, okay? So I want to find different areas of kind of feeling into that belly, and maybe that's rolling it up a little bit more and kind of getting over it, and then you say, oh, I can really feel that tightness, that restriction underneath my rib cage or into my belly. No one ever spends enough time here, especially when you go get a massage. You know, it's usually the one area of the body that's neglected the most, but it's also the one area of the body that we need the most. If we could start to release and reduce the tension of that fascial tissue that's right in that abdominal region, then we help to free up the diaphragm so it moves properly. We help to free up the tissue as it goes up the chain, so think of the neck. And when we free up the restriction in the front, we can also, in tune, reduce the tightness on the back. So it's kind of crazy how the body all works together, but I promise you, just try it. So we're not going to spend too much, an insane amount of time here. I just want you to breathe into different spots. And if you're feeling a lot of tightness and restriction, I want you to think of taking a breath in. So take an inhale. Now hold that inhale. So you're holding that inhale. Now think of contracting that belly away from the towel as much as possible. Contract, 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 and then relax everything. So again, it's an inhale. Contract that belly away from the towel. Exhale and relax everything. Especially under that rib cage, that's where you're going to find that melting, that relaxation. And so try different spots there. You can pause the video, explore, but spending about 3 to 5 minutes a day here can really help reduce any tension in the neck and the back especially. And just get us to breathe better, feel better, all of those good things. Now we're going to take the towel away and we're going to go into a prone pec stretch. This is one of my favorites. Now, most people know this as scorpion, and what is different with scorpion pose, what you're trying to do is get a lot of low back rotation. And all you do is try to throw your body over and try to get your foot down, right? That's not what we're trying to do with this, okay? With this one, I want my arms at about a 45-degree angle, so not straight up and not straight out, but about a 45-degree angle. And I'm gonna start by pulling the shoulder blade off the ground. So if I were to relax, my shoulders would roll forward. I wanna pull the shoulder blades back and I wanna hold it back. So kind of rotating it back, okay? Now keeping that, I'm gonna rotate my body and then I'm going to try to open in the chest area. So I want to try to rotate my sternum toward the wall, and right when I feel a stretch into my chest, I breathe here. So it's really not about reaching and trying to get that crack or that range of motion in the spine. It's more about the chest. So again, shoulder blade rolls back, and then just rotate that sternum, keeping that shoulder elevated until you feel a stretch in the chest. Okay, this is similar to one that I do on the wall. That's a wall pec stretch, and you hold and you breathe. Now, I only want a few breaths here, so like 2 to 3 breaths, and then switch to the other side. Okay, especially after we just released the fascia underneath the rib cage and got fluids moving. This is gonna feel so good. If you work on your phone a lot, on a computer a lot, oh, this is just gonna have one that's gonna feel so good. And what I like about it even more than the wall pec stretch is that it makes you get on the floor. Anything that's gonna make you get up and down from the floor more often throughout the day is gonna be great for your body. Okay, so you can explore that one, go a few more times if you want, maybe about 5 to 10 on each side to really get that maximum stretch and opening out of that chest. Okay, now we're gonna take it right back down again. So staying down here, I'm actually going to think of utilizing my upper body and kind of getting similar to what I've shown before in the past of getting that external range of motion and internal range of motion from the upper body. But this time I'm going to do it laying on my stomach. So when I do it laying on my stomach, it's so much harder, okay? So I'm gonna show you what I mean here. So as I lift, one arm's gonna go back behind me and one arm's gonna go over. Now the goal here is my gaze stays directly down to the mat and I'm trying to get as much range of motion in my shoulders as possible. So again, one hand's gonna go up and over, and at the same time, the other hand comes back and up. Now you're trying not to crawl and wiggle and do any funny things, so just listen to your body, observe, and be in honor, okay? So lifting, rotating, and back. Lifting, keeping those shoulders away. Now rotate, 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 and back. Woo, this kind of gets in the way on the other one. And coming up and back. Let's do it more. Lift, reach, lift, reach. You might notice you get more range one side more than the other. Totally fine. Woo, really building up heat. Keep that chest lifted. Reach up the back. And relax. Now we're going to relax just a little bit more since we just built up heat. And I want a prone quad stretch. So relaxing, getting that leg, and just breathing. Okay, now this might even be hard for you. So the goal here for a prone quad stretch, or any quad stretch for that matter, is not just lifting and pulling it to your bottom, okay? Because anyone can kind of do this. But notice as I pull, my back gets tense still. So what I actually want is I want to tuck the tailbone under, and then nice and slow, breathe, go back into those slow exhales, relaxing the body, and then pulling, okay? Now we're just gonna hold this for a little bit. Again, down regulating, keeping that tailbone tucked under, so it's okay if the heel doesn't touch. I just want to make sure that you feel it in the quad. If you're having a lot of knee pressure, untuck the pelvis just a little bit and then pull again, okay? So it's always about listening to your body. There's no one way to do even a stretch. There's better and more efficient ways, but you always have to listen to your body. That is key and king above everything and anything, okay? Then we'll switch sides, coming to the other side. So we're only holding it for about a minute. Tucking that tailbone under, keep tucking under. Right when you feel the stretch, that's where you're gonna breathe and hold. So again, not about smashing it out, trying to get the most out of it, just trying to feel it. If you're feeling like, ooh, that's a little bit too much stretch, I'm feeling a lot of increased tension, untuck the pelvis just a tiny bit. See if you can pull and breathe, okay? The more that you can kind of tuck that pelvis, because the quad attaches all the way up there, the more you're gonna get that stretch and elongation all the way through that muscle. But again, listen to your body, listen to the breath, relax and breathe the entire time. So that's what's most important here, okay? Really breathing, really relaxing, getting a good pull. And you might notice over time, the more that you start to hold, the more you realize you can pull more. And that's because we're actually getting that true tension release in the body. So this mobility flow is really about down regulating, okay? Seeing how we can just kind of work the body together, but also noticing if you open up the chest and you get things relaxed on the front side of the body, you might actually get more range of motion in the shoulders, okay? Now we're just gonna end one more thing. I'm gonna take the towel and you wanna roll it long ways. So I'm gonna roll it up here, or if you have like a long foam roller, not a short one, if you have a long foam roller, this is what you're gonna be laying on, okay? I'm gonna show it with this because not everyone has a long foam roller, and you're just gonna lie on it long ways, and I have a towel or pillow to just kind of support my head here, and then I let my body relax. So again, you can have the knees fall together if you want. Getting into slow exhales. Nice and relaxing and honoring that you just took time to do a mobility flow that most people do not do. It's not gonna get you sweating, it's not gonna get you muscle building, it's not gonna get you burning fat. It's just what it is. But it will get you decreasing inflammation. And the more that we start to realize that we can decrease inflammation and stress within the body, we're going to increase muscle mass, we're going to increase activation within our body, we're going to help any other thing that we want to do, whether it's focusing more when you're at home with kids, whether it's focusing when you're at work, or you just want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your workouts. If your body is tense and tight and then you go lift and get it tenser and tighter, you can see how injury can happen. So the more that we dive into and just tap into this down regulation practice, this listening to the breath, this mobility flow, and at least give me a few times throughout, or do it as a warm up and a cool down like we've been doing. The more that you start to do this, the more that you're just gonna start to open up in the body. And we start to realize like, yeah, I might not have everything. I might not be the strongest or the most mobile, but my body is able to adapt. And when we realize what it has and what it's able to adapt to and what it's able to learn, why wouldn't you want to keep growing in that, right? Why wouldn't you want to keep committing to that? So this you would hold for about 5 minutes is my favorite. Okay, I'm just gonna hop off and kind of end us out here. This was a wonderful place to really end the week, and I really just so appreciate you, again, walking the journey with me, testing your body, exploring your body, and even if some of these things you've done before with me, coming back to it and understanding and listening again, the more that it gets in our head and repetitive, the more that we're just gonna start to be like, oh yeah, I get it, I'm understanding, I can do it, and it's just gonna click even more. So don't stop. Don't let this be the end of it, okay? Continue to explore, continue to learn. The more that we gain awareness within our body, the more knowledge and power we have to not have to rely on anyone else. You get to be the owner, the true owner of your body, the guide as to what's happening. And I'm just gonna facilitate the pathway, open up education, open up awareness, and hope that you continue on and learn in your own body. So thank you again. Congratulations on finishing 7 days. You're so incredibly powerful, because strong, mobile, and free. I hope you're feeling it. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon.